Hey guys and gals, welcome. It's another edition of Catch Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510. We appreciate y'all tuning in every Saturday morning right here from 7 to 9 and listening to what we've got going on. I'm Captain Jim Ross, and if you're new to Catch Memory, hey, welcome. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. We do this, like I said, every Saturday. So if you enjoy what you're seeing, because we're on Facebook Live for the first time, which is pretty cool. Captain Tony Summers is joining us this morning. And Tony, it's been a difficult spring for guides. We were just talking before we went live on the air, that it's been very, very difficult for us because we've had a lot of returned deposits. We've had a lot of lost business. But there's a bright side to everything. And if this past week, for me anyway, is any indication, wow. The phone, as soon as the governor said, hey, we are open for business, the phone started ringing. And so that has been a blessing that we really look at this springtime as this is our main time that we get our revenue. I mean, we get a lot of our revenue from March and April when we get all the spring breakers coming down. I know you're the same way. And that's got to be some of the best fishing of the year for you.
Oh, definitely. Just that springtime bite is the best pretty much out of all 12 months. You've got 2 months that are the best. And we're sitting at home wishing we were out there catching.
Exactly.
Just 2 months of the year. We're sitting on our butts at house. No one to take out.
I would like to see just a rough guesstimate of the overall impact, the overall economic impact of all of the businesses that were shut down. Let's just say for the month of March. Let's just say 1 month. If you look at that across the Central Florida area in the amount of revenue lost, and then if you look at that on a state level, and then look at that on a national level, that has got to be a staggering number of businesses just like you and me that lost thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of dollars each.
Yeah.
Huge number.
You didn't have a choice in it.
And no choice. Yeah, no choice. Well, I'll tell you what, this segment of the show is brought to you by Blue Points Marina out at Port Canaveral. If you're looking for a fantastic place to keep your boat, go check out Blue Points because they have a really, really good operation out there, and just makes it easy. If you don't like trailer, and if you live in Orlando, you live in some other county other than Brevard County, and you're wanting to come here and fish on a regular basis, it makes it so easy because you don't have to worry about trailering your boat. You just call them up and say, hey, I want the boat in the water, throw some ice in there, and you show up, throw a couple of rods and reels on there, and you're ready to go. Good stuff. Tony, if somebody wants to get involved with the show, we'd love to hear from you. 321-632-1000 is our Blake Moore Real Magic Studios call-in hotline, and you can get us right here in our studios in Cocoa. Remember, also, the WWBC app. You can listen to the show on our app as well as on the air at 1510 a.m. And, once again, this morning we're trying the Facebook Live thing, so hopefully you guys and gals are going to enjoy the show in a new format this morning. So that's kind of cool. How's it coming through, Dr. Paul?
Everything's looking really good, and we have one good morning from James Robert.
Oh, well, tell him good morning back.
So
yeah.
I'll be trying to keep up on this.
Guest and friend of the show.
So that's a Catch a Memory Outdoors radio show on Facebook, broadcasting live right now.
Fantastic. Tony, we were talking about this springtime and missing the best part of the bite for you in your business. But Florida is honestly one of the best places in the world to go bass fishing, and you primarily target the bass in the Central Florida area. Now, you also do some saltwater. In fact, it looks like you're getting ready to go after the show. I see you got your boat hooked up.
I'm on the way home, but
oh, really?
You've
been fishing all night, huh?
No. I just slept over here.
Oh,
yeah. Grandparents have a condo.
Oh,
up
gotcha.
in Titusville, so spent the night.
Well, that makes it easy.
This morning, yeah, it was nice.
So the ones by the causeway or the ones down to the south? By
one right there where Highway 50,
yeah,
A1A, by the old space shuttle McDonald's.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. Just a little condo that sticks out
Okay.
in the river right there.
Gotcha. Actually, I was fishing right by there the other day.
There's a bunch of bait right there.
Yeah, there was.
There's a bunch of bait all around it, but the problem has been blown out.
Yeah.
You have to hit it in the morning.
Yeah, the east wind has probably got that a little bit roughed up. But the last week I fished in there, and we had we didn't get any redfish, just some trout.
Okay.
Just some trout along that stretch.
Nice.
Yesterday though, the trout bite was pretty good. Were you on the water? You were on the water yesterday. Our trout bite was pretty good yesterday. It could have been better. We had we love throwing topwater plugs in the morning. And that's what just kind of gets you going, watching that plug get knocked up in the air.
Yeah, slurp.
But yesterday morning, the fish did not have their glasses on or something, or they still had their eyes closed. I don't know what they were doing, because all of the topwater bites we had, with the exception of one jack, all of the trout just totally missed the plug.
Well, I've been out here two straight days and we're doing the same thing. Just swiping at it. Yeah. Inside, outside, wherever we were going, they were basically same eating pattern, same bite, whatever. They're all doing the same shit. So.
Yeah. I made a drift down the flat, and it's an area that's like you were saying, you find the bait. And when you find the bait, you're going to find fish around that bait. That's the whole key to it right now. If you can find bait and structure like rocks, docks, even the calorpa, that's giving us some ground cover. If you can find an additional thing like that in conjunction with the bait, that seems to be that much better. The fish are really looking for places to hide, and because with a lot of the areas being devoid of grass, it makes it very difficult for them to feed and not get fed upon.
True.
I know you see this every day. I see more ospreys carrying trout around now because they're like going, nah, I don't really want to mess with a mullet.
In the lakes.
Is it really?
Bass and bluegill and brim and
yeah,
everywhere.
They're going, I don't really want to dive on a mullet, but there's a trout. I'm going to dive on him, And the dolphin are the same way. The dolphin they're potted up and they're just running around, just eating
everywhere
trout as hard as they can go, because trout are a much better eating fish, I guess, than mullet are to them. But they will flat destroy your trout bite if you get a little trout bite going.
Probably 12-foot alligator south of NASA.
Nice.
Today, eating something.
They eat a lot of stingrays.
Really?
Yeah. The alligators that I see along anywhere from Black Point Wildlife Drive all the way down to, that NASA Causeway area, I see a lot of those alligators feeding on stingrays.
Did not know that.
Yeah. They tilt their head back. They get their head up out of the water and tilt it back, and you can see them kind of trying to choke it down.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
You can see what he was eating, but he sat there for probably 10 minutes doing that.
Trying to get it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not, a lot of they're not streamlined like a bait fish would be.
It's 12, 14-inch wide.
Trying to eat something that's round as a dinner plate,
Exactly. It's not going down too easy.
No, they don't. They really don't. So you got to fish the Indian River the last couple of days. What did you find? What was your experience like? Other than we had a lot of trout misses on the topwaters first thing in the morning.
It was definitely prudent upon the bait location, water clarity. So if once we got into those cleaner water areas, the fish were a little bit more active. It felt like we were getting better bites.
Yeah.
We weren't getting as many short strikes on the little swim baits and different lures we were throwing. And then also areas that had different variants in water depth and little holes and pockets, but also, like you said, that had different structure. Rock and grass made a big difference.
Yeah.
It was a little tough. You definitely had to cover some water, but there was enough fish to have a decent day with.
And a lot of the trout that we've been catching here the last week and a half, they all seem to be first thing in the morning. They'll be a little shallower, but not a whole lot shallower. But they want to be in about 2 to 3 feet of water for the most part. The more quality fish, those 15 to 25-inch fish, they want to be in a little deeper water right now. And we've had a lot of high. We've had a lot of high pressure, and I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, anytime we went in super shallow, anything way less than like a foot and a half, they just weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just from whatever I found, wherever we went. I mean, I went from Hollover down almost 528. It was all the same thing. We were out in that range.
Yeah, and then for the smaller fish, it seems like 3 to 5 feet of water. And then once you get about to that 4 to 5 foot depth, at least in the parts of the Indian and the banana that I've been fishing, you start mixing your ladyfish in there as well. Mm-hmm. And glass minnows, big, that's a big key to look for is areas with glass minnows in them, because man, you find glass minnows and you've got a bite going.
Yeah, I didn't see too many. I did see a few little spots of glass minnows.
Did you? Yeah.
I know I'm sure they're in that little clear water too.
Yeah. I fished the banana yesterday, and areas where it was slightly deeper, that 3 to 4 foot zone, especially in the middle part of the day, and had just a little bit of turbidity to it. That seemed, and with that wind that we've had yesterday, that helped the bite quite a bit. It went calm about 10:30 in the morning till about noon, and that really shut them down.
Shut it. Yeah.
They just stopped.
Nothing you can do about it either.
No, and you're going along the flats. You're easing along. You're looking at the holes, those little sand holes and things in the Calorpa, and you can see trout moving around. They're there. They just absolutely on that slick time frame between the wind went from. It was weird. It went from southeast. It shut down. It came out of the northeast for 30 minutes, shut down, and then came back out of the southeast at about 15 to 18 mile an hour. And when that wind really picked up midday and afternoon, that was when the trout and ladyfish really actually started biting better.
Yeah.
Or actually, they didn't start biting better, but they actually made connections with the lures we were throwing. Because in the morning we got a lot of misses. We had activity. We just had a lot of misses on the topwater plugs. So I went through and made a secondary drift. I made a first drift, and we missed 12 or 13 fish and caught one. I went back up and did that exact same drift, and we ended up catching 7 or 8 fish on the second drift through.
Topwater?
No, took the topwater off and switched over to the assassin paddle tails, and that seemed to be, it's just one of those things where they just were missing that topwater. So it was, there's fish here, but we need to do it. We need to think about it in a different fashion. So we went to a subsurface type of a scenario.
Catching some on as well.
Yeah, like you say, little swim baits, little paddle tails. Anywhere you go, that's a go-to lure. I mean, if I had one, if I was going to fish for anything from, red drum to dolphin, a little 4-inch saltwater assassin paddle tail will catch them all.
Everywhere you go. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Same jig head, everything.
Same jig head, eighth or quarter ounce jig head. Just doesn't need to be much, but that little swim bait is just absolutely dynamite. And obviously color makes a difference on some days and some doesn't, but it's one of those things where that's a bait that you can consistently go to. Definitely. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our break, first break of the day. Welcome for those of you that are listening to us on Facebook Live. We're going to be right back with more Catch a Memory after this message with Captain Tony Summers and myself, Jim Ross. So don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. Captain Jim Ross and Captain Tony Summers in the studio with you this morning. You're listening to Catch a Memory Outdoors, and welcome for those of you that are just joining us on Facebook Live. We're trying this for the very first time, so if you're on Facebook this morning and you happen to see us, sorry, we got faces for radio, most of us, but
there's no makeup here.
There's no makeup, and I got the whole COVID chin thing going on because I haven't shaved in 5 weeks. So my Miss Robin is not happy with me right now. She's like, "You need to get rid of that mess off your face."
Trying a new look.
That and a haircut. Good grief. I mean, you keep yours short.
I got one a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
First time. It was nice.
I'm so ready for a haircut.
I've been buzzing my own for the past 2 months. It was nice to have somebody else do it.
If I had a little more hair, I'd probably buzz it down a little shorter, but I'm still at that stage where I'm going, maybe there's a chance that,
it'll fill in.
It'll fill back in. I don't know. Pipe dream, right?
That's what hats are for. Anyways.
pipe dream.
Yeah.
Hey, this segment of the show is brought to you by Memory Sticks Fishing Rods. Stop up at Cody Moore's, New Smyrna Outfitters in New Smyrna Beach. You can check out your Memory Sticks Fishing Rods there. He's got a good supply in stock. We've got Ace in Titusville, both locations. In fact, I just here recently restocked those guys. So they've got a brand new quiver for you to choose from. Sunrise Marine at Port Canaveral just got some brand new ones in out there as well. And then, of course, Strike Zone down in Melbourne and Reel 'em In Bait and Tackle down in Sebastian. Those are your locations in the central east part of Florida that you can check out Memory Sticks Fishing Rods. So make sure you stop in and check them out, see what you think. Getting a lot of good positive reviews on them, so people are really enjoying them. So check them out right there at any of those locations. Give us a call, 321-632-1000. We've got a Blakemore Real Magic Studios prize pack, or A&B graphics prize pack to give away, but you can get us right here at our Blakemore Real Magic Studios in Cocoa. So WWBC 1510 AM, WWBC app, 99.9, 94.7, 100.7, catchamemory.outdoors.com, and now Facebook Live. We've got 7 different ways that you can get involved with the show.
Wow.
So hopefully one of those ways works for you. Tony, we were talking about swim baits, and it doesn't really matter to me where I go, what I do. That's really my go-to. When I was fishing redfish tournaments, whether I was in Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, wherever we were at, that always seemed to be one of my go-tos. Was keep a small. I use the Bass Assassin / Saltwater Assassin product, and keeping a 4-inch paddle tail, and always one in a bright color, or a simple white, or something that's more natural, like a silver mullet color, or Cajun croaker color, or something that blended and looked more natural. I always seemed to have 2 rods rigged up, and you never knew what the fish were wanting to key on. You look at your water clarity, your water color, and then some of those factors get chosen pretty quick for you. But in freshwater, we haven't had much rain this year, so the lagoons are looking really good right now. How is the freshwater? I know the water table in the St. Johns River is low. How is it in the lakes right now?
It's the same way. All the water levels are probably within 1.5 to 2 foot low.
Okay.
In most of the lakes, it's been pretty low. But the water clarity has been actually diminished.
Really?
From what I've seen, so the FWC's been doing a lot of spraying.
What is with the spraying?
So they're spraying all the grass and the hydrilla, but now with all the wind we've had, so it's stirred up all the lakes.
Yeah.
So everything's been really dirty that I've been to everywhere here lately. So it's completely changed the bite, completely changed the color patterns. And
so you've gone from a natural, a lot of clears, maybe silvers, to more golds and high-vis colors?
A little bit, yeah. Maybe some natural colors, but tipped with chartreuse tails.
Okay.
Things of that nature.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a June bug color with a bright blue tail. Little subtlety color changes to it like that to help the fish pick it up.
Yeah. Like you say, whenever you get a little bit of turbidity in the water, you've got to do something so that the fish can see what you're putting in front of them.
Yeah.
So 2 foot low. I mean, that's a lot of water to be missing out of like a lake like Toho. That's a lot of water to be missing.
It certainly is. And I mean, it's so low, like you're having to change where you're going. Otherwise, you're running across sandbars.
Gotcha.
In certain places right now.
So it's like the Mosquito Lagoon. It helps to know where you're going.
It certainly does. It certainly does. Yeah. Yeah, that whole Kissimmee chain's that way. There are certain areas you just can't run right now or set down on because the water's so low.
Because you're not getting back out of there. At least not without a long trolling motor or idle back out.
Or some wet pants.
Yeah.
And pulling yourself back out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
a lot of changes.
So with turbidity, are you changing? Do you add rattles? Do you go to noisier lures, or do you still stay with a non noise making type of a plug, like a worm or a swim bait or something?
For me, it kind of factors into, I guess, sunlight, the noise with the turbidity, and then also water clarity. But I'm going to go something that puts off a lot more vibration.
I mean, like a spinnerbait or a chatterbait, or
probably more like a chatterbait.
Uh-huh.
So something else that I do is I take the skirt off a chatterbait, and you can put natural swim baits or natural soft jerk baits on those, and so you just can change the profile of the bait too to match what they're eating, and then I'll kind of determine that based off of the wind speed, cloud cover, that kind of thing.
So the skirt is going to make it much fuller,
bigger profile.
Yeah. So if you're pulling that off, you're going with a smaller profile, and that's because
or if you notice, like maybe you're getting some short strikes, you're just not hooking up.
Right.
Maybe just downsize a little bit. You can one quick adjustment you can do is take that skirt off.
Gotcha.
Smaller profile, still getting the vibration, still getting the movement, still getting the reaction from the fish, but now they're going to commit to it a little bit easier.
Now, in saltwater, we use a lot of leaders.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like
I use a lot of leaders myself.
Like a lot of fish in saltwater, really, you're not going to catch them if you have braid tied straight to the lure. But I see a lot of freshwater guys that don't use a leader. And
most don't. No.
What is your opinion on that though? Because you do fresh and saltwater trips.
Well, our water clarity allows us to not run it quite a bit, except for some of these lakes that are more central to Central Florida, Orlando, that are pretty clear, crystal clear, all spring fed.
Mm-hmm.
Those I run leaders quite a bit. But once you get out into the Kissimmee chain, Harris chain, some of these tannic acid stained water, maybe just dirty water areas, you don't have to, because quite a bit. Most of us, some people use just straight braid, green moss, whatever it is, but most of us will color that braid with black, and a black braid in tannic acid completely disappears.
Gotcha.
You get away with it.
Okay.
It just looks natural in the water. The fish don't see it.
So you're just taking a colored marker and just marking up 2 feet of line or something?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, just enough of it and blends in. It's funny, you can put that color break where you stop the Sharpie right in the water and see it. You won't see the black, but you'll see the green.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But now I've got some new line from Trickfish, and it's all straight black, doesn't bleed, and so I'm running it instead.
Oh, it's already
all black.
Tinted that
it's
color.
Dyed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, most of the lakes we can get away with straight braid.
So if you're fishing, like what about the Butler chain or the Conway chain?
See, there I'm
clear,
gonna
right?
run a leader. Except if I'm punching vegetation, then I'll run straight braid.
Okay.
But yeah, there I run a 2-3 foot leader on Butler chain.
Now, we were talking earlier about March and April are great months for bass.
Post spawn,
and even the big bass are still around. They're great.
Oh, they
months
certainly are
to catch. You're not going to get that 12-pounder because she's dropped her eggs, but now she's still 10.
Yeah, she's still a wall hanger.
She's still a huge largemouth bass. As we transition now into late May and into early June, obviously it's going to get hotter. Mm-hmm. Do you change your tactics whenever you're trying to target those big bass, or do they just simply kind of go bury up somewhere and they're kind of difficult to find?
Those big fish, to me, from what I've always learned, is they're always roaming anyways. But certainly as it's getting hotter, water levels are dropping, that's just going to pull the fish out. So for the past month, the best bite has been offshore vegetation and offshore brush.
Okay, so
they're already into their summer type patterns.
Okay, okay. So what's your water temperature? So which lakes have you been fishing lately? Kissimmee, chain, Toho, East and West Lake Toho, or
just mostly Toho?
Toho. So 2 foot of water that's missing. Mm-hmm. Water temperature's got to be pretty warm.
It's around 80.
Water clarity is a little turbid.
a little dirty, a little stirred up.
And so chatterbaits, things of that nature. What about like shell bars and things like that?
That's always typically my mooring spot because you're going to have a lot of spawn, a lot of glass, or a lot of shad spawn going on still right now in the month of May on those shell bars. So early morning bite is definitely best on a shell bar typically because you're going to have a lot of shad and a lot of bait that'll pull out onto those shell bars in the morning. Fish are going to gather there, feed on them for the first hour or so, and then they'll disperse.
Gotcha.
But the shell bars are typically good, and then you come back later in the day.
Now they disperse because there's really no vegetation there or anything for them for cover?
They're just, for whatever reason, they pull out onto those hard bottom shell areas and gather there. But the fish definitely know that they're coming there. They come in to feed on them, and then the fish just drive them out. Typically, they're going to dive back into the grass, into the Kissimmee grass, once that sun gets up.
Gotcha.
7:30, 8 o'clock. But you've got a good first 2 hours of a good morning bite to hit them on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's, freshwater fishing to me, because I grew up just fishing little ponds and ditches and, a little bit out here in Point Set and the St. Johns River. I didn't really find patterns. We just kind of went fishing, as kids. Mm-hmm. And we fished a lot of golf course ponds, things of that nature. But we would, obviously, first thing in the morning or last thing in the afternoon, it was always, let's throw some kind of topwater along a vegetation line, whether it be a lily pads or hydrilla line or the edge of the cattails. There was always some form of structure close by. But in the middle of the day, we would throw a lot of worms and cast towards the middle of the body of water that we were fishing in, instead of trying to still fish the sides. And I guess that's sort of the same kind of scenario that you get in some of the bigger lakes, is that the fish are going to be feeding next to something relatively shallow in the morning, and then as the sun gets up and the heat gets on, they start to, like you say, they start to dissipate away from some of the shallower areas and go find something that's a little more temperate or, more to their liking.
Yeah. Well, in the mornings, they're going to feed outside of that vegetation, that shoreline vegetation. And then as the sun gets up, they're going to actually go in two different ways. Some fish will actually pull into that shallow, but the thickest vegetation you can find.
Okay.
But then the other half of them will pull out into the deepest water they can find.
So it kind of depends on their mood for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
We do the same thing.
Cloud cover is big factor into that, for sure. But yeah, no, we certainly do, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Well, guys and gals, we appreciate y'all listening so far. Give us a call here. We'd love to hear from you. 321-632-1000 is our Blake Moore Real Magic Studios call-in hotline. And we're going to be right back with Captain Tony Summers and myself, Captain Jim Ross, after these messages, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone down in Melbourne. The cool thing about Strike Zone, the guys and gals at Strike Zone fish. You don't have to go in and say, oh, I need this kind of a hook, or do you have this kind of a line, and get a blank stare, at one of these, so-called, big box type stores. You go into Strike Zone and say, hey, I need some Suffix 832 braid. I need some 410. They know exactly what you need. They go straight to the shelf and show you where it's at. I need some 5/0 offset weedless worm hooks. Bam, there you go. Yeah. I need ballyhoo, and I need some black barts to go over the top of a hook set rig. Bam, they go right to it. The guys and gals at Strike Zone fish, and that's the difference. It's a local shop. Guys and gals in there get out on the water on a regular basis. They love fishing as much as you do. And so if you're looking for a great place to go out, get all the gear that you need, and get some really good tips in many cases, because those guys have been on the water as well as in the shop. Then stop in at Strike Zone. That's the place to be. Tell them you heard about it right here on Catch Your Memory Outdoors. Hey, gang, 321-632-1000 is our Blake Moore Real Magic Studios call-in hotline. We'd appreciate you giving us a call, let you know what you've been doing or what you plan to do this Memorial Day weekend, because we've got a nice long weekend to be out on the water, and it looks relatively good. Speaking of that, let's check out the catch conditions right now. Today they're calling for southeast at 10 to 15. Seas inside of 20 miles are supposed to be 3 to 5 feet with a dominant period of about 10 seconds. Now remember, there's a swell coming in from the northeast off of Arthur, or what was the remnants of Arthur. So we're still getting the impacts of that swell. That's why that period is out there at about 10 seconds. But remember, that southeast breeze at 10 to 15 is going to bring a 2-foot chop from the southeast back across it. So just, especially when you're going in and out of the inlet, Sebastian, Ponce Inlet, and Fort Pierce Inlet in particular, be very careful going in and out of those inlets, because it's going to get a little sloppy in there, especially on those times of outgoing tide. Right now, the 4-mile buoy, we've got 3 foot at 12 seconds. Water temperature is 78 degrees. At the 20-mile buoy, water temperature is 80 degrees. It's 5 foot at 11 seconds. And then the conditions at the 6-mile buoy are at Fort Pierce are 80-degree water temperature. Seas are 4 feet with a dominant period of about 11 seconds. Surf temperature right now, Cocoa Beach reading about 79. Sebastian's actually reading 80 right now. And then Fort Pierce is reading 79 as well. Western edge of the Gulf Stream, for those of you guys and gals that are going to get out and do a little dolphin and tuna and sail fishing, 28 nautical miles due east of Port Canaveral, 24 nautical miles due east of Sebastian, and about 17 nautical miles due east of Fort Pierce Inlet. And the tides look like this. 9 a.m. high at Canaveral and a 247 low. At Sebastian, we've got a 9 a.m. high as well with a 3:09 p.m. low. And then the tides at Fort Pierce, we've got 9:17 a.m. high and a low at about 3:15. Now, remember, Sebastian and Fort Pierce, the tide changes approximately 2.5 to 3 hours after the actual beach tide. So your high tide is probably going to be a little bit closer to noon today than it will be that 9:15 time frame that we show as the actual beach tide. So that's your fishing and boating conditions for East Central Florida. Tony, we were talking a lot about freshwater fishing, and there's a lot of guys that do freshwater fishing. What about stripers? Do you do any kind of striper fishing at all, or do you accidentally catch stripers at all in any of those cleaner lakes, those spring-fed lakes that you were talking about?
Two places that I can target them if I kind of want to go out and fish for them would be Lake Apopka, and then quite a bit of places on the Harris Chain. Up into Varys, Leesburg. Other than that, I don't really.
You don't mess with them that
too
much.
Many other places actually, other than that I frequent. The numbers on Apopka have dropped a little bit, but there's still quite a bit on the Harris Chain. But now it's kind of like an accidental thing. You'll be out there and there'll be schoolers and there'll be largemouth, but then you'll mix in the stripers or the hybrids as well too.
Yeah, they're actually not true stripers; they're hybrids.
Yeah,
that's one fish that I've not caught.
No, it's fun.
No, I've
for a little 15 to 20 inch fish, it puts up pretty good fight, just like a jack, the same way, something like that. They just dig and dig and dig.
So in the St. Johns River, in the wintertime, you'll hear of guys, especially Lake Harney, Lake Monroe in particular. Those two seem to be areas where the stripers tend to be more prevalent. And for whatever reason, Lake Harney seems to have a pretty, like in January and even February, Lake Harney seems to have a pretty good supply of them. Yeah. Where do they go the rest of the year? I mean, do you catch them year round, or they seem like, I seem to hear about them more in the winter months than I do in the summer months.
It just seems like they're more, I guess, active
on
the surface. Chasing pods of baits.
Chasing baits and things like that.
To me, from what I've seen, it seems like more in the winter months that they just stay subsurface, so you don't see a lot of their activity.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just swimming around the lake out in the middle in the open, chasing pods of bait fish. Is what they do a lot. So, so if you're going to pick them up, you're probably going to pick them up on your graph.
So they're chasing shad for the most part.
They're chasing shad around.
Okay, or do the shiners get out that in that part of the lake? They typically stay shallower, don't they?
Unless there's offshore topped-out hydrilla for them to hold to and get inside of. Otherwise, they're going to be at the bank. All the wild shiners will be.
So you were talking about the Kissimmee chain, and they're doing a lot of FWC is doing a lot of still for whatever reason
everywhere really
is still doing a lot of spraying. What is going on? I mean, we're trying to create better water quality conditions here in the state of Florida, and the government, the state government, the local governments, everybody's spending a lot of money trying to improve water quality. Mm-hmm. Why do you think a state agency is still spraying herbicides in our freshwater arenas or areas?
That's a good question. That's what's on most of our minds as far as guides, tournament fishermen. We don't understand it, because just like you said, we're all trying to improve it. We have actual proof of the effects from the chemicals. We've got fish all across the state with sores, tumors, burn marks. We've got pictures from guys from all over, east, west, north, and south. I've given these fish to the biologists with FWC, and I mean every report that I've ever heard of has come back inconclusive from them.
Inconclusive.
They've wanted proof, and every determining whatever from them has come back inconclusive. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we've physically given them proof of said effect to the spraying. It's unreal. So I don't get it. I'm sure there's some money involved, down the line with it. There's got to be something to it for them to continue to want to do it, because I mean, there's places that they spray and there's no way that it's impeding navigation, which is their factor or their reason.
Right, the reasoning behind it is to improve navigation.
You've got 6 inches of water lettuce growing off a bank, 400 yards off of a channel marker, but you're going to spray it. So there's something else behind it. So I don't know. It's a biggest struggle for us.
It's a very difficult thing to try and wrap your head around. Some of the management practices. We here, in fact, we had Virginia Barker on the show here last week she called in. We're removing muck that's just decades and decades of muck. We're removing out of some of our areas of the Indian River, Banana River complex. We're changing our stormwater flows to go through baffle boxes and to go through mitigation areas where the vegetation in these ponds before the stormwater goes actually into our lagoon system can absorb some of the nitrogens and some of the other things that wash off of lawns, like fertilizers and oils and pesticides and all of these things that really do damage to the lagoon. And you can see there's been a lot of effort made here in Brevard County in particular, a lot of effort made, and our water clarity has improved so much. It's amazing to me how much improvement we've seen in our water clarity in the Indian and Banana rivers. Not having any substantial amount of rain also has helped that this spring. But then we see things like that happening that we know lead to detrimental effects to water quality. And I shake my head. And we had another thing happen this past week, and one of the friends of the show, a fellow named Shay, actually reported it, and we have some impoundments up around the National Wildlife Area, National Wildlife Refuge, the Canaveral National Seashore and Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, where culvert pipes have been closed off and trapped fish inside of those ponds. Now that the water level has dropped and those ponds have dried up, the fish are all dying up there. And once again, you have to sort of wonder, what sort of a management program is this when we're allowing, hundreds and hundreds of breeder-sized redfish and trout and black drum to just die and dry up in a pond? There doesn't seem to be any sense behind it. Once again, we're struggling. A lot of the common folk out here in the population are struggling to try to figure out, how do things like this happen? Why are things like this happening? We all know that, we're trying to do everything that we can to save and bring this lagoon back. And so far, we've been doing a pretty darn good job for most instances. But then you see something like this happening, and you just kind of shake your head and go, somebody was asleep at the wheel. Somebody's not paying attention. Somebody's not on board. So what exactly is it that we have to do to get these people's, to pay a little closer attention to what their actions are turning into? And in this case, in the case of the wildlife refuge, there's just fish floating dead everywhere. And that's in a wildlife management area, a wildlife refuge. You shouldn't have massive kills of any kind, no. Let alone, what has been a struggling population of saltwater species of fish. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, we're still trying to figure it all out. We're still trying to work our way through it all. But yes, there's a lot of things that we still have to try to get accomplished as citizens to say, hey, we still feel like these things need to be changed. Spraying is one. Management of the impoundments is another. There's a lot of things that we can do to still increase our effectiveness on this cleanup and this rebound that we've undertaken for the last couple of years. Hey, guys and gals, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. 321-632-1000 is our Blake Moore Real Magic Studios call-in line. Give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you this morning right here at Catch Your Memory Outdoors. Captain Tony Summers and myself, Captain Jim Ross, are going to be right back after these messages. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by Rapala and the Rapala brands. And Captain Justin's out on the water this morning, so he's on a pretty good bite. He's asked if I could go ahead and do his Captain Justin's pick of the week. So, there's a lot of different things that we like to throw in the Rapala brands. But one of the things that we like to throw in the mid summertime, whenever the water gets a little hotter, the fish move off the flats to get a little deeper, is actually it's called a shallow Shad Rap, or a Shad Rap shallow. It's the Shad Rap version of the bass bait with a short lip, and it only goes down to about 2 to 3 feet, sometimes 4 feet, if you make a really long cast with it. And they come in a little 0.6 size and then about an 0.8 centimeter size. And Tony, you're probably very familiar with that plug, using lip diving plugs for bass. But the trout and the ladyfish eat those things like crazy because they look like little pinfish. Yeah. And so right now we've got a lot of small pinfish. We've got a lot of small pigfish showing up. And so, and with those trout starting to drop off to that 2 to 4 foot zone, like we were mentioning in the first portion of the show, that's a great lure to throw. So we'll snap a picture and throw that up on the Catch Your Memory Outdoors Facebook page. But that's Captain Justin's pick of the week. Hey, we're going to go to the phone lines. Captain Mike Mann calling in this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
We're doing good, buddy. As you're trying to talk into your microphone, we're kind of losing you there.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to work and trying to multitask. Yeah, is that a little better?
Are you releasing fish?
We just did a leader release on a tarpon, about a 30-pounder, first fish of the morning. So young Alex, 17, had never caught one. I was like, well, do you want to maybe go for him? He's like, okay. So we came out here and basically about 5 minutes into it, we had one had the laziest tarpon. He looked up, saw that memory stick, said, yeah, no, I'm giving up.
Really?
The laziest it is the laziest tarpon I've ever caught. We thought it was a sail cat at first. And then he comes up and jumps, and he never went more than 10 feet from the boat. Right there. So,
well, that's great that you got a tarpon, but man, that kind of is anticlimactic for tarpon fishing. Tarpon are known as, it's like as soon as you hook them, it's like somebody lit their tail on fire and they just go crazy.
It was super anticlimactic. And then I reached down, I grabbed the leader, and then he does one run, and the line snapped on us. I don't know if I had a fray in the line or what happened, but so the line snapped on us. But we got the leader released, so
that's cool.
The tide's just starting to switch to some incoming, and hopefully we're going to get some more.
So, Mike, are you fishing in the backwaters, or are you fishing in the inlet itself?
I'm fishing in the backwaters. You know the spot. I think we did a multi-boat charter here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know where you're sitting. That's a good spot, too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good spot, at least, until the traffic starts running through here too much. So we're going to mess with these guys for a little while, and we're going to see if we can get some trout, maybe on his first redfish, too. So his mom got him a gift certificate like a year and a half, 2 years ago for Christmas, and he finally got a chance to use it. So,
well, good deal.
No, but the bite this week's been kind of been a little odd. The beginning of the week, the bite was on fire. A lot of really big trout being caught, and it slowed down a little bit. This water has warmed up so much, so fast. Coming off the water yesterday, I had 86-degree water temperature. I
was going to say, I read anywhere from 79.5, 80 in the morning to by the time I came off the water, I had 85.5 yesterday. The only 79 I had was after all that rain that we got the other day. So, yeah, I started off fishing a little outflow creek, and so that rainwater was kind of coming in because we had that huge downpour night before last, and so I just knew if I was going to have a shot at a tarpon or a snook that we were going to start first thing in the morning and try that, but it didn't pan out. The jacks and the ladyfish liked it, but we didn't have any tarpon in there.
Oh God! We got the first tarpon on a mullet and on a finger mullet, and now got another finger mullet out and a pigfish out. So I'm excited because tarpon are kind of my go-to fish in the summertime. I love the tarpon.
Yeah. Now, Mike, a couple of weeks ago you were saying that you had a really good snook bite going on. Has that sort of tapered off, or are you just switching to other species?
I'm switching gears. I know this week that the snook bite had been pretty good for the guys using croakers, mainly fishing docks from River Breeze up to the North Causeway or South Causeway.
Uh-huh.
I have not been hitting as much just due to there's so much boat traffic.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people taking advantage of this good weather. That's for sure.
Exactly. So, so I've kind of backed off on the snook bite a little bit, but I know it was good at the beginning of the week, and I talked to several other guides who did real well. The bait of choice was croaker. They've been going out and catching their croakers every afternoon for their trip the next day and going to town on it. And the tarpon really started getting thick in here in the last probably 5 days. They were pretty thick down at Haulover. Up here where I'm at, a good bit north of there, up around the South Causeway, it started showing up. So it's happening. Summer pattern is here.
Good deal. Yeah, there was a pretty good group of them that moved through the central part of Brevard County here over the past, like last week and the week before. There was a really good number of them, but it sounds like they've kind of gotten a little farther to the north, because the couple of places that I did see them, I haven't seen them in the last two days that I've been out.
Yeah, I've got a buddy down near Haulover yesterday, jumped 9 tarpon. So,
oh, nice.
So that's a pretty darn good day.
Yes, Captain Tony's in Summers is in with us this morning, and he just had mentioned that he stopped in Haulover, but they weren't actually in Haulover yesterday, so they must have moved outside of Haulover.
Yep, and that's where he got them, was on the outside of there.
Yeah.
And, but early morning. So the bite, by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that bite was done.
Gotcha.
It's it's gonna be a beautiful weekend. I'm fishing day, and I'm taking the rest of the holiday off, and doing some barbecuing and family time.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like a great weekend to just do just about anything this weekend. So whether you're doing what you're doing, chilling around a pool, going out to the beach, or getting out on the boat, it looks like it's going to be a fantastic weekend for all of the above.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
well,
Mike.
Guys, listen. Let me get back.
I was going to say, if somebody wants to get a hold of you and do some fishing, have you got any time available?
I've got 2 days open towards the end of next week, and then I'll do 11 days open. So you can give me a call there because 295-5991. You can follow me on Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service, or on Instagram, Captain Mike Mann.
Fantastic. Thanks for the call this morning, Mike, and congratulations on the tarpon release. Hopefully you'll get a couple more bites before the sun shuts them down for you.
Thanks, guys. Get out there and catch you a memory.
All right, we're going to do that, buddy. Hey, I wanted to let you guys and gals know real quick before we go to our next break. The Boaters Exchange Boating and Fishing Expo that was scheduled for April 18th, that was then rescheduled for June the 6th, has been rescheduled once again. And they're looking at the November 7th time frame. So it looks like, the spring boating and fishing expo that we typically do, it's a big event that we normally do over at the Boaters Exchange. Live remotes, seminars, all that kind of stuff. They're pretty much saying, with the effects of the COVID that's been going on, we're just going to let it slide for the springtime. We'll have a big event in the fall. So that November 7th time frame looks like it's going to be when the guys and gals are going to, be able to get together and get back to that event again. So I just wanted to let you guys and gals know. And, of course, as always, they're going to have, vendor booths, food trucks, all kinds of manufacturers, representatives, kids zone, the bunch of different fishing clubs and marine organizations are going to be there. Of course, plenty of seminars and speakers, ourselves included. And Captain Blair Wiggins is going to be the keynote speaker of the event. So save the date, November the 7th, and we will talk a little bit more about it when it gets a little closer to that time. Till then, you know what? If you want to stop by and check out a great place to get a boat or get your boat service, stop in at Boaters Exchange. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we've got Brian Gorski from CCA calling in with a whole lot of really cool things that you guys and gals can get involved with this Memorial Day weekend. So don't go away. Captain Tony Summers and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back after these messages. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by, once again, the great guys and gals out at Blue Points Marina. If you're looking for a fantastic place at the port to keep your boat, stop in and check them out. Tournament weekends and weekends like this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, are great weekends to see the efficiency of a well-run machine. And so if you're getting a chance, you're swinging out to the port today, doing whatever, stop by the Blue Points for, 15, 20 minutes and just kind of watch them operate. They're very efficient getting guys in and out of the water, and it's just a fantastic facility. So stop in at Blue Points and tell them you heard about it right here on Catch a Memory. We're going to go right to the phone lines. We have Brian Gorski from the CCA calling, the CCA Florida calling. And good morning, Brian.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
We're doing good this morning, buddy. How are you doing this Memorial Day weekend?
Oh, doing pretty good. We're, a typical Memorial Day weekend would be starting a star tournament, but because of everything that's going on, we have decided to push the start of that back to July 1, but we're hanging in there.
Well, that's a good thing. Are you going to get out with the kids this weekend and do a little fishing yourself?
You know what? That is the plan. Today we're going to do just a little family fun boat ride, and then probably on Monday cast some lines.
Perfect. What a great weekend to be out on the water with your family. I just love this time of the year.
It's actually not blowing over here for the first time in I don't know how long, so it should be good.
Well, Brian, in this day and age, we're living in different times. We're navigating uncharted waters with this whole COVID-19 thing that we've been going through here the past couple of months. CCA is coming up with some unique things, to be able to still basically, continue along with the conservation efforts that they've been so known for over the years, but in a virtual manner.
You're right. It has been tough. We've had to adapt. Our conservation efforts, continue regardless, and unfortunately, we've had to postpone quite a few events, specifically the banquets that are our lifeblood, and that's where all our fundraising dollars come from that pay for all the habitat projects and the advocacy that we do. So yeah, we've had to adapt, and we've got some really neat things that we've been doing. We've been trying to give back as well. We've had obviously the guides throughout the state like yourself, the rest of the guides from the Fishing Report, and just many, many others that have supported us for so long. So we've done a couple things to try and help give back to the guides, because we know you guys are suffering as well with cancellations. And we've got our Fishing Guide Friday that we implemented a couple weeks back. That's going in full force, and how that works is we sell $20 opportunities for people to fish with the guide basically of their choice. We have about 8 different guides from across the state each Friday, and we pick 2 winners, and they get to pick whatever guide they want. And then what we do is we pay that guide in full right then and there. So they get a little extra cash in their pocket, and we get some of our membership to fish with some of the best guides throughout the state.
Well, I'll tell you, being one of those guides, that has been part of that program, I took my winner out yesterday afternoon. It was Joe Hull.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. He came down from Tallahassee. He's up in the Tallahassee area. He came down, and he brought his 2 sons, Chase and Reese, and we went out yesterday afternoon. I had a morning trip scheduled, and then I took them out in the afternoon, and we caught ladyfish, we caught trout. It was a fun trip. A lot of
good.
A lot of small fish. We didn't get any heroes yesterday. We looked. We didn't find any heroes, but a lot of action. And Chase and Reese had a really good time. And Joe, actually, it's funny because Joe he came out with me about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, with another group of guys. And so when he won, he immediately said, I immediately wanted to go right back out with you again, because we had so much fun on that last trip. But I wanted to bring my kids this time, so we had a fun trip yesterday afternoon, and what a great way to be able to have a shot at a $400, $500, $600 charter, than by spending for $20 through CCA. So it's a bargain for the people that are trying to get involved in the raffles, to be able to get out with one of these guides and have an experience that they may not have had before. So I want to thank you guys at CCA personally for allowing me to be part of that, and then also Joe wanted to say thank you for what you guys are doing, and because it allowed him to do something that he wouldn't really necessarily normally be able to do. based, on a cost standpoint, and this allowed him to get involved for a reasonable rate that he could very easily afford.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. It's a great story, and the beauty of that raffle is we only sell 100 tickets, so the odds of being drawn are pretty good, and we draw more than one winner. So we're happy to support the guys. Like I said, they support us. They've been supporting us for years. We've got another virtual event coming up on the 28th. And that is going to be part of our Coastal Social series. It's a live feed on Facebook, and this one is named The Art of Fishing. And the reason we came up with that name is because it's going to focus on not only the guides throughout the state that have been supporting CCA for so long, but also the artists. We've got original art from Guy Harvey, Carrie Chen, Wyland, Steve Whitlock, Eric Estrada, you name them, the best artists, marine artists out there. We've got originals from them, and then of course we've got numerous fishing trips with the top guides throughout the state. And again, with this, we're trying to help both the artists and the guides. We're going to split the sale of the art with the artists, and we're going to split the sale of the charters with the charter captain. So hopefully everybody will open up their wallets and know that they're giving back as well. So let's support the guides and let's get those bids up. And you can watch it live on Facebook on Thursday the 28th. And we're really looking forward to that. The first social that we had was pretty successful, and we're looking forward to this next step.
Well, what's interesting about that, Brian, is typically, this being a virtual event, anybody can get involved in it. Typically a CCA event, a banquet is, let's say we have one in Clearwater, and then we have one in Homestead, and then we have one in Jacksonville, and then we have one on the Space Coast. From a distance standpoint, it may prohibit people from being able to attend if it's not their local event because it's too far away. This being a virtual event, right, everybody in the state can get involved with it. Everybody, in fact, everybody in the nation can get involved with it. So
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, as long as you've got a cell phone, a computer with either cell signal or internet connection, you can participate. You can bid from your couch. It's all done through either your cell phone, because the auction will actually start Thursday morning. Thursday evening is where we're going to have special guests come in and talk about conservation, why they support CCA, and why they've done it for so long. But absolutely right. Somebody in Alaska can be bidding. So it's really exciting. It's going to be great exposure, not only for CCA, the guides, and the artists. So we're excited.
Well, yeah, the exponential impact that a virtual event can have is amazing, because I know, on I've got 3,000 or 4,000 people on my Fine Line Fishing Charters Facebook feed. Tony, I'm sure you've got a ton of people on yours, and so each and every one of us, if we can promote this, that exposure can then go to those people, and they can all potentially get involved. So the amount of exposure through a virtual type of a scenario is, it's exponentially larger than even a local event.
It is. You're absolutely right. Just to give you an example, we had our first, what we called our Star Search, which is going to happen every Wednesday live on Facebook at 8 p.m. But it's basically kind of a question and answer, and being able to explain all of the divisions that we have in the Star Tournament. And I think we had about 115 viewers live on that. But, the next morning we checked it out, and at that point, because of people sharing, just like you had mentioned, we had over 2,100 views of that 30-minute broadcast that we did. And, as you mentioned, we get all the guides, all the artists, and everybody sharing this thing. We could, the viewership is just unlimited.
If you look at that, that was just the first attempt at it. And you had 2,100 views. So when you look at that, an average event is only going to have, say, 400 or 500 people.
300 maybe.
Yeah. People. So you've already expanded on your numbers of the amount of people that can get involved in A, conservation, and B, helping a local artist or guide in this time of need, and C, just being able to have a great event all the way around for our outdoors and for conservation here in the state of Florida. Everybody can get involved in this.
Exactly, and that's what's been so fun in adapting to our current times. Hopefully, they won't last for long, or much longer. But it's been interesting, that's for sure. And we're trying to come up with things to get people involved as they're sitting at home. And they've really enjoyed the Fishing Guide Friday raffles, the Winner's Choice Wednesday, where we have all kinds of different prizes you can choose from. Again, it's just 100 opportunities at $20 a piece, and you can walk away with something worth $600-700 or more. So it's been fun. We've got a lot of positive feedback too, because people are bored, they're sitting around, they don't have a whole lot to do, and it gives people an opportunity to participate in some things that they may not normally be able to.
Well, buddy, I really appreciate you calling in this morning. I know that CCA is doing a whole bunch of different things, and I'd like to have you back on sometime soon to talk about some of those other projects. But for now, once again, just kind of give us a recap of what you've got coming up on the 28th.
On the 28th, we've got the Art of Fishing virtual auction. It starts that morning at 8 a.m., but our live feed is at 8 p.m. We've got all the original art from the top artists, all the guides, top guides in the state, and that auction will stay open until Sunday at 8 p.m. So I can't wait to be back. I want to talk about the East Coast Redfish Initiative that we're doing, where we're going to start releasing redfish on your coast.
I'm so looking forward to that. I cannot wait. Restocking for the East Coast. I love it.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer, so we'll be in touch, my friend.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Brian. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend with your family, and get out there and catch yourselves a memory.
Same to you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. Captain Tony Summers and myself, Jim Ross, are in the studio this morning. Give us a call here, 321-632-1000, and we're going to be right back after these messages from our Blakemore Real Magic studio, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by Anytime No Bite. And, Tony, you and I are out on the water in the morning time, and, of course, those no-see-ums can be really nasty sometimes. But I tell you what, even for those people that live near the water, this is something that you guys and gals should look into because Anytime makes a product called No Bite, and it keeps the no-see-ums off of you. It smells decent. It's all natural. That's the main thing. You're not applying DEET to your skin. You're not putting poisons on your skin. So it's an all-natural type of a scenario where you're using different oils and different natural ingredients to repel these bugs. Works on mosquitoes, works on flies. In fact, we were working up at Robin's property, and a couple of the guys were getting bit by flies, but I wasn't one of them because I had put some of the Anytime No Bite on. And so, if you're talking about deer flies and things like that, it keeps them off of you. So check it out. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Anytime No Bite. It's made by Bradshaw's 4 Rings Protection. And you guys and gals need to check it out because it's a great way to protect yourself, protect your kids, and not have to be putting chemicals like DEET on your body. The other thing we need to talk about, Tony, so cleaning your boat, right? Everybody's got to clean their boat after they go fishing. Or after they go boating. You're constantly trying to clean your boat. And so the Starbright Cleaning Solution segment always comes up with something that you need to help, clean your boat.
They've got it all.
They do. And a couple of the things that you get these mysterious smudges and marks and black streaks on your boat. I don't know where they come from. I don't see anybody getting on my boat with a hard
scratches.
Yeah, ghost scratches. Yeah, with a black soled hard soled, like dress shoes, or and yet you still get these black streaks on your boat, and you're like, where did that come from? How could that possibly have gotten there? And my deck brush won't take it off. That's the bad part about it. So Starbright makes a black streak remover. Spray it on, hit it with a brush just a little bit, gone. So they make it simple. Like I said, you know, they maybe they need to rename it Ghost Mark Remover instead of Black Streak Remover. I don't know. But
mystery mark remover.
The mystery mark remover. It's one of those things. The Black Streak Remover is a fantastic product from Starbright. So if you guys and gals are having problems, you've got some kind of a ghost on your boat that leaves suspicious marks.
Right.
Check it out because it'll help you get that boat cleaned up and looking brand new once again. We're going to go right back to the phone line. We've got Donald Waberman calling in this morning. Good morning, Donald.
Hey, good morning, captains. Hey, that's one thing I don't have to worry about with my kayak, is getting those streaks or anything. Just hose it off and boom, ready to go.
And away you go. Yep. Yep.
But, I tuned in for that CCA Star the other night with Captain Lisa and Skipper Amanda, and that was some great information. In fact, the name that was drawn for the hat is actually a friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know Mike. We fish together. We're in the same kayak club together, and we have actually fished tournaments together. So that was cool. And I texted him. I said, "Congratulations, Mike. You got that hat."
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
So we're all trying.
Donald, you're living in Lutz, and so you're primarily fishing on the west side of the state of Florida. Now, we've had a lot of east winds the last couple of days, but have you been able to get out? Or are you going to be able to get out this weekend?
No, actually, I cannot. I've got too much to do. I can't get out until June 6th, a couple Saturdays when I'm able to get out. But when I've got a bunch of trips planned. I've got going out with a guide, the one that I won at the CCA Star Banquet that I bid on and won. We've got a trip planned on the 21st for the new moon. Then I've got another trip with a kayak guide on the 22nd. So when
Awesome.
CCA starts, when CCA starts, I'm going to be out there every Saturday that I can. It's like, I really want to get a boat.
Gotcha. Well, you're doing the right thing. Is you're taking care of other business before the CCA Star Tournament starts, so that when it starts, you can get out there and make the best of it.
Exactly. I've got some honeydew lists. I'm working this weekend in the house, getting some stuff done. Next couple of weeks, got stuff around the house that I'm getting done with for my wife and the house, and so then I'm going to go gangbusters. I also signed up my grandson Henry. He lives up in South Carolina, but they're coming down here in July and coming down in September.
Oh, okay.
Because it's going through, into October.
It goes into early October this year because of they've reset the dates for the tournament this year. Yeah.
Yeah, because in September we're going to be on your side of the coast.
Well, you know something that's what's really important too, Donald. Is there's a couple of things that you're doing there. A, you're getting a kid out fishing, which is a fantastic thing. B, you realize that, hey, he's going to have two different opportunities when he's down here during the Star Tournament to be able to get out. So let's sign him up for the Star Tournament, because kids in the Star Tournament can win $5,000 scholarships. There is some prizes in this tournament that are absolutely fantastic. And you sign the kids up. I don't know what is a kid registration. I know an adult registration is like $40 or something. If you're not a CCA member, it's like $75.
The kid, it's $10.
$10, and the kid can get a $5,000 scholarship. I mean, who as a parent, understanding how expensive kids are, who doesn't want to be able to get their kid out to potentially win $5,000 for spending $10? That's a decent deal right there.
Yep. Yeah. When my grandson Henry was born, he'll be 11 in July. We did the Florida prepaid for him, so he already has right now 2 years of college, and my daughter and her husband did another 2 years, so he already has 4 years. So he gets this scholarship. He can use the money the books or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything. I mean, that's just incredible.
Well, the incidentals, lodging, trying to find a hotel room or an apartment to rent, for a kid to go to school. They got to have a car. You got to insure the car. You got to put gas in the car. The kids got to eat food. I mean, you look at the cost of sending a kid to college these days, and an extra $5,000 is nothing to sneeze at. That's for sure.
Yep.
And he gets to go fishing.
Exactly, which he loves anyway. By the time he was 9, he's already landed 13 different species anyway.
Nice.
So he loves to fish, and his biggest fish, was a 6.5 pound trout that he caught a couple of years ago. It was a freshwater trout, but he's caught snook. He hasn't caught a redfish. That's the only fish that he hasn't caught yet. That's inshore. He's caught every other inshore species except the trout. He's got mangrove snapper, ladyfish, trout, sheep's head, snapper. I mean, he's got everything else but a redfish.
He's got to get that redfish, huh?
I want him to get on a redfish. That would be just the best.
Heck yeah.
I don't care if it's tagged or not. It doesn't matter. Just a small redfish.
Any redfish will do.
Any redfish will do, exactly. Because all I got to do, get him. I'm getting a few measuring devices because I made the mistake last year when I was down in Miami when I caught that 40-incher snook off the beach, and I forgot my measuring device at home. So I'm putting one in the beach bag. I'm putting one in my glove box. Yeah. One is staying in my kayak.
You can have them everywhere.
Yep. I will never, ever forget that measuring device.
There you go. Well, buddy, thanks so much for the call this morning. We really appreciate it. And you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Even though it doesn't sound like you're going to be on the water, you have a great one anyway.
Oh, yeah. And we salute our soldiers. My son-in-law is in the Air Force. Right now he's in his 12th year. That's why they live up in Charleston, because they live on base. But I had a bunch of family members that were in the service, friends, and other relatives. So we salute them all.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Well, thank you for the call this morning, Donald.
Absolutely. You guys take care. I'm so looking forward to Star and getting Henry back out there fishing.
It's going to be a big time, isn't it?
Yep. You guys take care. Tight lines and stay safe as always.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye now. Tony, that's one thing I really, really like. Yesterday I had Reese on the boat and Chase on the boat, and just getting the kids out and getting them catching fish. It's just so much fun. I love getting the kids out.
They've been all cramped up in the house, and they're ready to get on the boat. And
pick
up on some fish.
Oh, Reese was so excited yesterday. He was. You could physically see the energy just
being released
off. He was just having so much fun. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and I had a couple of fellas yesterday morning that were really good anglers, and unfortunately we started off the show talking about our topwater bite, and you were mentioning the same thing. These guys could fish, they were anglers, and the fish yesterday were just kind of frustrating because they were so non-committal to the topwater plugs. You'd see a flash or you'd see a swirl or you might get a pop, but there wasn't that, that crushing blow that you were waiting for, when you're typically throwing a topwater plug, especially around a school of mullet. A couple of the things that I've also noticed here this year with the water clarity being better in our lagoon systems, more sharks coming in. We saw another big shark yesterday up in the shallows chasing bait around.
Really?
And I couldn't tell what kind it was, but typically our sharks are, when it's a little cooler, they're normally lemons. And then this time of the year, it's normally bulls or black tips. And this one to me was, it was far enough away that I didn't get a really good look at it. But it was definitely a shark that was probably somewhere in the 5 to 6 foot range. It wasn't a dolphin. It was probably about 80 yards from me.
Yeah.
And he was actually chasing fish around a spoil island. There was a bunch of bait congregated on the on the upwind side of the spoil island, and he was in there just thrashing at them and chasing them around. And it's really cool to see an apex predator like that when he gets excited and he's on the hunt. Of course, it didn't help our fishing any.
It's like a dolphin.
Yeah, just like a dolphin. So we kind of moved on
Cool to
down.
watch for a second.
We kind of moved on down the way, but to see them doing their thing, that's so awesome.
It is
so awesome. Well, what are you looking forward to? I tell you what, let's take our next break, get it out of the way, and then we'll see what you're looking forward to in the next week or two. So don't go away, guys and gals. Captain Tony Summers and myself, Captain Jim Ross, are going to be right back with more Catch a Memory after these messages. Hey, gang, welcome back. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook Live, welcome back once again. This is our first attempt at it, so Captain Tony and I are kind of in uncharted waters here. We're breaking it in. That's exactly right. We want to let you know that this segment of the show is brought to you by Blue Points Marina out at Port Canaveral, and also A&B Graphics. The guys at A&B Graphics, in fact, I'm just getting a new graphic built for the boat right now, and it's it doesn't matter what you need. A&B Graphics can help you make a better impression, a better impact. So if you're looking for something to help kick your business off, they can design it, they can print it, they can install it. And whether you need business cards, banners, or billboards, they can do it. So give them a call over there at A&B Graphics in Cocoa. Tony, we were talking about things during the break, and what are we looking forward to? We're at Memorial Day. We've had a late spring. It's been a little windy. We've had a lot of interruption to our business due to the whole COVID event. But we got summer. Summer's coming. And seas are going to lay down. Seas are going to get flat. Tarpon are going to show up. Jacks are going to show up. Kingfish are going to show up on the beaches. Bite in the lagoons is going to get a little bit slower in the middle and later in the day because of the heat. So we change our tactics. We go and look for different types of species. We go to different waters. And you were mentioning something that I've only had a chance to do one time so far, and that's grouper fish on the west coast of the state of Florida
area.
And that's exactly where I fished, was out of Crystal River. And we were catching legal grouper in 8 and 9 feet of water.
It's unbelievable to catch legal size gag grouper over there and that short of distance off the coast.
Yeah,
and only in that shallow water too.
So do you go in the same depth? Are you looking at that 8 to 10 foot,
or
or
cover a huge range?
Do you go deeper, or?
I'm typically going deeper. We're going 20 miles at least.
Oh, really?
We're still going out that far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're just bouncing around to different rock piles with live bait, cut bait, or you can put deep diving plugs, 20s and 30s on. Get some.
Now, are these places that are historically marked on charts where it's hard bottom or something like that, or these are just places that you go out, troll around, and find
hard
yourself?
Hard bottom areas, and also just rock piles.
Okay.
Natural rock piles that are out there, just natural limestone rock.
Because the time that I did it, and like I said, I've only done it one time, was after the CCA banquet that was over in the Crystal River area a couple years ago, and we chartered a guide because I didn't want to take the boat over, and there's a lot of rock over there. I call myself
it's a sketchy place. If you don't know it.
I call myself a fairly competent captain, but I'm not. I don't need to go over and I go scalloping over there, but I don't need to go over there for the first time, blind as a bat, and try to find fish on my own. I'm a pretty decent fisherman, but I know my limitations. And so I thought to myself, let's get a local guy. He fishes here every day. He knows where to run. He knows where to go. And let's go do we were going to do a little red fishing, actually. Tide was wrong. Wind was kind of funny for the time duration that we had. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a time crunch. And so we had a limited window as to when we could go. And we had a cold front that came through. So we only went out to about 8 or 9 feet of water and caught 4 gags, and 2 of those 4 were legal. And that was in the October time frame, though.
Okay.
But throwing pinfish.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I'm thinking to myself, golly, if we had if we had bottom structure like this over on the east side of the state, we could be doing this as well, and that would be really cool. Yeah. But you're actually going 20 miles offshore. I mean, we were only maybe 4 or 5 offshore.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a huge range. I mean, you can go 50, 60, 75 miles out and hit rock piles all the way out.
Now, you're doing that on your boat?
Yeah. If it's flat enough.
It was flat enough.
If it's flat enough on my Maverick, I can certainly get out there.
Gotcha.
On a smaller size flats or bigger size flats boat, small bay boat, you can get out there on a flat day for sure and run as far as you want to go. But I've got plenty of buddies with bigger boats who'll run out if it's a rough day or whatever and bounce around, hit all the rock piles, get some pinfish in the morning to beak him up, or cast net some up, and go out there and have some fun.
Man, and I love grouper.
June 6th.
I love catching grouper.
Yeah, fun.
There's nothing, and they pull. They flat out pull. Hey, you know what? We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Bryson Wright on the line this morning. Good morning, Bryson.
Morning, Jim. How's it going?
Doing good, buddy. We were just, I know you heard the conversation. We were talking about doing some shallow water grouper fishing. You've been doing a lot of fishing lately yourself, but you've been actually doing it exactly the opposite. You've been deep water fishing.
Yeah, we've been deep, mainly the other side, and then coming back in and hitting some grouper and a lot of sword fishing. I mean, I wish we can go get grouper in 8-9 feet of water. We're going to have to get up at 4 in the morning.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That'd be great. I'm about to go make a freaking 30-mile run and go worry about catching all this live bait and then go out and deal with all sandbar sharks all day long.
Yeah, we do have some sandbars. Well, you've been doing some deep dropping and getting some, variety of fish on the deep drop rigs.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of tiles and a lot of yellow edges and some snowies here and there. It's been a really, really good bite out there. I mean, every time we're going out, we're limited out on tiles in at least 20 or 30 minutes. And it's been a really, really good bite. And the sword bite has been absolutely insane. Like, there's so many swordfish out here right now. And, we're going out there, we're putting usually one on the deck every time we're going out, but we're getting 2 or 3 bites every trip right now.
Nice.
It's a really, really good day.
Now, doing a daytime swordfish trip, how deep of water are you typically fishing in?
I start in 1,700 and I don't go deeper than 2,000.
Okay.
And it's just pretty much, it's all about the drift, like how you want to drift. We run down to Fort Pierce and there's no set spot. As you know, they're migratory fish.
Right.
So, you can't be like, I got a number here. Like, yeah, you could have like a little ledge right there they might hold on. But, we pretty much just run down to Fort Pierce, start about 1,700. We keep the boat between a 180 to 210 heading. And, we keep one engine on, just staying in there. And we just basically let the stream just go. We stop at about 5th Ave in Bell Beach.
Okay.
And if we haven't got anything then, we pick up and run all the way back down to Fort Pierce and we redo the whole drift again.
So it's a long drift. I mean, you're
committed.
It's an all day deal. You might do 10 drops in one day. You would do several drops on a drift, and you do 10, 12 drops in one day. You had a pretty eventful day. Like, you definitely worked hard that day.
Yeah. Now, when you're fishing for the sword, say that 17, 18, 1900 foot depth mark, are you catching? Is there anything else that is like a bycatch? Are you catching escalar or anything like that?
We've had white marlin on the drop.
Really?
Mike Cram last year caught a bluefin on the drop. You catch all sorts of stuff on the drop. We've caught 2 yellowfin on the drop. We've caught dolphin on the drop. And you'll just start dropping. All of a sudden, you'll have 3,000 feet of line out, and it's slack. And you're like, well, I didn't hit bottom. No way I hit bottom yet. And you'll turn on the electric, and all of a sudden it'll go tight. And 90% of the time you kill the fish. Like, we pull up a couple white marlin. They're all dead, unfortunately, when you pull them up.
So the marlin are actually striking your baits as they're dropping down, not during the drift. So they're somewhere in that stratus of water between the surface and 1,700 feet.
Yeah, between the surface and 1,700 feet. I mean, I can see why they hit it. Basically, our common sword rig is 10 to 20 pounds of weight we're dropping. You're using 150-foot, 250-pound wind-on leader with 3 lights on it, and you're putting a bait on there, preferably a mahi belly or a bonita belly, some hardy bait. You're sewing it on, putting a skirt over that, and your first light's going, 10 feet up bait, then 25 feet up the bait, and then 50 feet up the bait. and then your weight goes on. There's a loop at the end of the wind on. So your weight's 150 feet away from the bait. You know, you let all the line out, then you drop your weight, then you drop about 400 feet, you stop it, drop about 400 feet, you drop it, and then you drop about 400 feet, you drop it, stop it, and then you get to about 1,000 feet, then you drop it all the way to the bottom.
So
But
you're
usually
you're
about
allowing for the line that has the baits on
Yeah,
it
the line to catch up.
to straighten
You
back
wanna-
out behind in the current behind
so-
the weight.
So when we first do it, we pull up, we get ready to drop, we face the boat with the stream, like going north. So, you know, we let the boat carry us. And we let all the line out, we drop. And then when it gets to about 1,000 feet, you know, I pick the rod up out of the back of the boat and I move it over to the side next to the driver's side, right next to the wheel. And I tell whoever's driving, I'm like, okay, turn the boat 180. So we turn the boat 180 degrees. Now we're facing dead into the stream. And we're keeping that 180 to 210 heading. And when we're there, then I let the bait go all the way to the ocean floor.
Okay.
Then when it hits, you know, you'll feel it hit. I'll pick it up about 50 feet.
Interesting.
And then at that point, you know, your rod's bouncing like crazy. It's bouncing. You got 15 pounds of weight, 1,700 feet. The boat's rocking in 3-footers. It's bouncing. And you're just looking for the subtle tip. This little tiny tap in between the bounce. And
Okay.
you may not even have a bite. It may be in the sword just came up and he rushed it. You know, they rushed and they put this huge percussion wave and it knocked your rod tip real quick. So you may not have it. You know, then you pick it up, you drop it again. And a lot of times when you pick it up 100 feet and you drop it, that sword gets so mad, he comes up and gulps it.
So it's almost like you would be jigging a paddle tail for a trout or something. You're
Basically.
you're manipulating the bait up and down in the water column, and then that turns that fish's feed mechanism on.
Yeah. So he sees the light. The first thing he sees is all these lights, and he's like, what the heck's this? And he thinks it's bioluminescence on squid, something like that. And he runs up, and then all of a sudden he sees a bait. And there's the last light. And he comes up, and they thrash the bait, and then they eat it. And then the fun begins. You know, it averages about an hour for every 50-pound fish. You know, they come up pretty quick, and then they realize that there's sunlight, and then something's wrong, and then it all becomes
Then they actually start
horrible from
fighting.
there.
Yeah.
Then they actually start fighting, and they actually start taking line out of the reel, and then you got to start chasing them. And then the whole time when you're hooked up and you got them near the circle, got them near the surface, you do circles around them. Almost like if you're commercial king fishing, like how you circle around.
Right.
You would do circles because the first thing that those fish try to do is they charge the motors. They don't know what it is. They see bubbles going out. They hear the motor, and they swim right to your motor, and they'll get in right in your prop and cut you off.
Gotcha.
So you do circles and keep them in the middle. Then you try to harpoon them, and then stick about 3 gaffs in them and tail rope them, and then hope you're done from there.
Hopefully you and the other guys on the boat can lift him into the gunnel or into the boat over the
Hopefully,
gunnel,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah. More than not, then you hope you got a good buddy nearby on the VHS. We've had to do that before out of Miami. We put you've seen that picture of that 500-pounder we caught down there.
Yeah.
Giant one. That took us and 2 other boats to come over to throw him in the back of the boat. Wow. We were in a small 23 contender with no door.
With no door, you had to drag a 500-pound sword over the gunnel. Woo!
We had 2 gaffs and a harpoon.
Man.
So,
Minus the
caught that
winch.
fish for 9 hours and 25 minutes
Wow.
before he came in there, and it was a good one. But it's definitely an art when you get out there and you do it, and it's something everyone should do. You catch a lot of bycatch, like you said. I've seen angler fish get caught, all sorts of stuff get caught out there.
Gotcha. Yeah, you never know what's going to come up out of that ocean, that's for sure.
Mm-mm.
Nah, you're so deep down there too, and everything you catch looks so freaky. You know, everything. Their eyes are all huge. Everything gets down there, and you know, it's definitely a boring day of fishing, but it's the most rewarding fishing you'll ever do.
Yeah, because just about everything you pull,
finally
I
comes.
was going to say, just about everything you pull up is delicious.
Yeah, everything is delicious, and there's so many things that can go wrong. Like your day has to go perfect to put a sword on the deck.
Gotcha.
Like-
Gotcha.
There's so many parts of your line are out there. You know, you got 2,000, 3,000 feet of line out with the scope. It's a lot of line out there to be fighting a fish.
That definitely
a lot of time
is.
on a reel.
That definitely
You
is.
can't put too much pressure. We're only putting like 15 pounds of drag on these fish at all times. 22 to set the hook and back down to 15. Not you'll pull hooks all day long.
That's interesting. They just they have a
such a
they have,
soft mouth.
I was gonna say they have a soft mouth or something.
Such soft mouth in the corner, and you're using those big 11-aught triple strong tuna hooks on there, and you just put too much, we'll just haul that hook. I guess that weight starts bouncing in.
Yeah, I was
pulls that hook off.
gonna say it's got to be a lot like tarpon fishing. You know, when you're tarpon fishing with a weight, your catch ratio goes way down because the fish has the ability to use that weight as leverage to get the hook back out of them. And so I can see that, especially if you've got, you know, something the size of a window sash that's 15 or 20 pounds, that they can definitely, you know, easily get a hook, pull the hook back out of themselves. Well, buddy, we're up against our next break, but hopefully you get out there and have a great weekend and enjoy yourselves this Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Bryson. Thanks so much for the call this morning.
All right, no problem.
Bye-bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our last break of the day. Captain Tony Summers and myself are going to be right back with the last segment of Catch a Memory, so don't go away. We're going to be right back. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by the Inshore Fishing Academy. Classes coming soon. Be careful. You might learn something in the Inshore Fishing Academy. So we're going to let you guys and gals know a whole lot more about that in the next couple of weeks. Captain Tony Summers, you know, we've talked a lot of different things this morning. Obviously, you're a great bass fisherman. Catch lots of bass. Get out there in the saltwater, catch lots of saltwater fish. Go over to the West Coast, do some grouper fishing. You know, we're coming into late May, early June, and you know, I know both of us like to get out on that beach and chase those fish around on the beach. What are you most excited about seeing here in the next couple of weeks or a month?
Tarpon.
Yeah.
It's in my blood. It's been in your blood for forever. I know that's one fish that gets us excited.
Yeah, I love my tarpon fishing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed because we were supposed to be on vacation this past week in Isla Morada. And I was talking with some of the guys down there that I talk with on a regular basis, and they were saying that the bite was
I've been seeing a lot of
pretty
Instagram
doggone
stuff.
good,
Yeah.
so I was really disappointed that we weren't able to get down this
Tough to be
week.
sitting up
I
here
know.
5 hours away.
But, it's one of those things where the place where we were going to stay, they're not open. They've been shut down. And so there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. If just like most of our customers that wanted to come to Central Florida for spring break for the March and April timeframe, we don't have any choice in the matter. They don't have a place to stay, and so they can't come. It's just there's no opportunity, no lodging available for them because everything was shut down. Same thing with our Keys, vacation trip. So unfortunately, those things happen. But it's I am so looking forward to tarpon myself. I'm telling you, we're gonna go right to the phone lines, and who've we got on? Oh, is it Captain Ed?
Cam, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Captain Ed Dwyer, Other Side Tournament going on this weekend. I'm glad you had a minute to call in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Just wanted to touch base. Yeah, let's remind everybody that's going on. Everybody's out there fishing today. Everybody left last night and this morning, and lines in at 6 this morning, and lines out tonight at 9 o'clock. And we got again, we're dealing with the COVID thing, so we're going to do the virtual Facebook Live tomorrow, starting at 11 at Grills. So it's going to be different for us, but kind of exciting. Well,
we're doing this virtual, Facebook Live thing for the first time here on the radio show ourselves. So we're trying to get used to it. Ed, you've been doing the Other Side Tournament for quite a number of years, and anybody that knows anything about fishing in Central Florida knows that you basically pioneered running 100 miles offshore and finding tuna. You were the guy. If there was anybody that could be directly responsible for this particular phenomenon that we're seeing, multiple boats a day going to the other side of the stream, you basically started this whole thing. Yeah. Back in the 80s, I was the first one to go out to the weather buoy, and then and that's how it all got started. Going out there, and then next thing you know, finding these birds, and I went to Furuno and started to figure out, I need to find these birds somehow other than my binoculars. Got the Furuno going. I had this giant television screen monitor that was probably 3 foot by 3 foot square, looked like a giant TV sitting on my bridge, and
finally figured out how to find the birds on it, and then next thing you know, everybody looks like a helicopter running around the center console now.
Yes, yeah, they
Everybody's
do.
got a radar.
Everybody's got a radar now. Well, this year being different, where you're not going to have a quote unquote weigh-in crowd there. How do people get involved with watching what's going on with the weigh-in tomorrow, and what time should they start looking for the weigh-in to start?
Yep. Okay. So we'll be live on Facebook tomorrow. Go on the Other Side Fishing on Facebook, and again, anybody's got friends and everything, share it with it. And just like you did today, I was watching it. It was awesome. And just go on. We're start at 10:45 tomorrow. The weigh-in. The first boat's going to roll in at 11. I'm going to have a boat come in every 10 minutes. I got 25 boats fishing a full field. So tomorrow you'll be able to see each boat come in, and you'll be able to interact. We're going to have some cool giveaways during the whole podcast, and we'll be the weather's looking great. And again, just right there, it's an event. And you'll find it on the Other Side page, Other Side Invitational page on Facebook, and everybody's fired up about it. I mean, I think, like you said, we're dealing with these times, and now these people, everybody that usually I've got, 300 people standing in front of me with a big stage set up, and, got all kinds of cool giveaways, and everybody's a little bit bummed that's not going to happen, but, and then there's a lot of people, hey, I don't want to be in a crowd, which obviously that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And so we really don't want a bunch of people showing up there, and and it's going to be all roped off, so people aren't going to be able to get near any of the boats or anything, and we're just trying to keep everybody safe and do our social distancing thing and do that live via Facebook, which is very cool that we have this opportunity to do that. And it looks like we're going to have a giant crowd watching. And it's going to be probably about a 2, maybe even longer. Just depends. Like I said, every 10 minutes they weigh in. And so tonight they come in through the night, and they're going to call my cell phone, and they're going to leave a message on what time they come in, and that's going to determine their weigh-in time, which I'll determine in the morning when I get a hold of them. And every 10 minutes, so there'll be a fresh boat rolling in with a catch. And like I said, they're out there. The fishing's been awesome, so there should be a lot of big tunas caught, dolphin, wahoo, and it's just. The reports coming in this past week have been unreal, and the weather. Normally I deal with the weather every year, and that's another reason. Really, everybody's just jacked because everybody's been sitting home, and everybody wants to get out there, and it's flat calm. I mean, there's a real big spread out swell. That's all there is out there right now. As you can see, you can look on the weather buoy and see the sea condition out there. It's beautiful. So
yeah, it's
good weather, good fishing, and I think we're going to have a lot of
other than being able to be part of a crowd in front of the weigh-in stand, which you can now do virtually. It's probably going to turn into one of the best Other Side Invitationals ever because of the conditions. You're not having to fight Mother Nature. All you have to do is fight a fish.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's the thing that's really makes the Other Side so enjoyable. If you can go over there and have good fishing and calm seas, and I think that that's what the case is right now. So, yeah, it ought to be exciting, and I'm kind of excited for tomorrow, just to something new. I've been doing this. It's going to be, I think, on the 20th. It's going to be 23rd year now for this tournament.
Yeah,
and so yep, look forward tomorrow. Starting at 10:45, we'll be live on Facebook.
Well, Ed, thanks so much for the call and taking time out of your busy schedule this weekend. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully everybody out there is safe, and you guys have a super successful tournament. Thanks for the call. Thank
you, Jim, and God bless, bud. Talk
you
to you
too,
later.
buddy. Thank you. That's one thing. When you're 60, 70, 80 miles offshore, you're a long way out, and Mother Nature can turn in a heartbeat on you. And so safety is key. Safety is paramount. But you know what? We're gonna have a great weekend ourselves, Tony. Really appreciate you coming in. And now, are you going back out on the water today, or are you heading back to Orlando?
Not till first of next week. I'll be back out. Yeah, I've been out here the last 2.5 days, so
kind of taking a
weekend break,
a little weekend break. Yeah,
family. And
well, how does somebody get a hold of you if they want to do some fishing?
First off, website, FloridaFishGuide.com, and then social media pages, Captain Tony Summers. Cell phone numbers 321-363-6550.
Yep. If you guys want to do it freshwater, saltwater, Tony can do it. Tony's the man. So appreciate you coming in this morning and spending some
Appreciate
time
it.
with us.
As always.
Definitely. You know, we're going to have a great Memorial Day weekend. And like one of the other callers, Donald Waverman, earlier was saying, we thank all of the men and women of the armed forces that allow us to do what we do every day, to keep us free, to allow us to have these liberties and to be able to live in a great country like we live in. And I tell you what, I am so thankful that other people have done what they've done so that we can do, me in particular can do what I do.